Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. And here is the deal, all right? If you've ever watched any of my other videos on this channel, you probably know that I like to get super excessive when I talk about my action figures. You know, I try to be as thorough as I possibly can, and I'll, like, if it's a Thundercat character, I'll try to compare them with screenshots from the cartoon to show how accurate they are to how they appear on the screen. I'll go over scale, and I also talk about the character's cartoon history. Now, if it's a character like Lynx-O or Slythe, where they're in almost every single episode of the cartoon, I'm not going to do like a episode by episode breakdown. I just kind of talk about my favorite character moments, you know, some of the coolest things that they do in the cartoon. If it's a character like Captain Cracker or Snowman, they're in, you know, so few episodes that I can go over like a complete animation history and kind of review the episodes they appear in, which is something I really like doing, you know, with like all my screenshots and stuff. So I do plan on doing that for all the action figures that I'm going to talk about in this video. The thing is that I'm a little bit behind in my research. I'm still like combing through things. I'm trying to build up a little bit of a database. And in general, I've just been super busy, you know. I haven't put up a video on YouTube since I think April 10th. You know, I actually have been working on some videos. I just haven't finished them yet. I just haven't had the time because I've been doing a lot of art projects. So if you're a fan of my channel, you know, sorry things are kind of held up at the moment. I'm trying to move through these things. And I figured, you know, I might as well take like a quick look at all these action figures from waves 2 through 4, minus Slythe. There have been a few people who have asked me in my comments, like, are you going to review these waves? And yeah, like I really want to. I'm going to get to it when I can get to it, but I might as well like just do like a quick, you know, overview of these guys, give you my initial thoughts on all these action figures, and just kind of tell you like how I feel about this line in general now that we've actually gotten so many more action figures. I was actually going to leave all these guys in the boxes until I made my reviews, but I decided to open all of them up because I noticed that on Facebook, some people were having trouble with problems with their Mumm-Ra the ever-living action figure, you know, like the snake horns were kind of messed up. And I saw like somebody posted about how they were having problems and they had to contact Big Bad Toy Store. And so I was like, oh, well, crap, you know, I should check out all these guys. You know, I shouldn't leave them in the box and then open them up 3 months later and find out that they've got problems, you know. I might as well open up them now, and if they've got problems, I can exchange them. And yeah, both of my Mumm-Ra heads have wonky snake horns. So I will show you that a little bit later. So like I said, this is just kind of like, you know, this is just kind of like an easy going thing, and eventually I will go into the super extensive, super excessive reviews. You know, if you're new to the channel and you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my Slythe review. You know, I think to me that was the latest Thundercats review I did. And, you know, I was pretty proud with how that one came out. I thought I did a pretty good job of covering every possible thing I could about Slythe. I also usually try to compare them to their, you know, original action figures, which I'll do a little bit of that here in this review for the action figures that I have of these original guys. But, you know, like I said, it's not going to be as excessive. This is just kind of like me and you, the viewer, having a chat, you know. So let's get rid of the guys I've already talked about. Like I said, went over Slythe, you know, did Lynx-O, did Jackalman, did Panthro, and also talked about Mumm-Ra in the mummy form, you know. So these are all the guys that are left. And, you know, these guys are pretty cool. Look, I'm not like one of those people that likes to really dump on Super7. There seems to be like a lot of that with Thundercats. I feel like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles people are all like, yeah, Super7 is doing an amazing job. And Thundercats people are like, you know, this isn't accurate to the cartoon, or I was hoping this was more like the toy, or, you know, like all that kind of stuff. You know, I don't know. I love the cartoon of Thundercats. It's quite possibly my favorite 80s cartoon. You know, that gets a little... No, I guess real Ghostbusters would be there. Thundercats is either 2 or 3 in my, you know, in my list. But, you know, to me, this action figure toy line doesn't have to be like 100% cartoon accurate. To me, this toy line wasn't billed as like, the Fred Wolf NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series or anything like that. This is just kind of like an interpretation of these characters. Like in this toy line, I like that Jackalman is like kind of big compared to Lion-O, because if you look at the original model sheets, like Lion-O looks like a 6 foot tall, like muscular dude, and Jackalman looks like a 10-year-old boy. It looks like it's like the battle is like super unfair. Like Lion-O is just beating the shit out of some kid. So I'm just gonna start at wave 2. I'll pick one action figure to begin with, and I'll just work my way through the next 3 lines, right? Just give you my very general ideas and first impressions of each action figure. Try to point out like some problems and some of the things that I like about the action figures too. All right, so first up, I'm going to talk about Groon the Destroyer. This guy is pretty awesome looking. All right, so I should probably point this out. Wave 2, we waited a super long time to get these guys, way longer than we ever should have. And unfortunately, most of the Wave 2 action figures have some quality control problems, all right? Now, from what I understand, Wave 2 was done in the same factory that Wave 1 was done. Wave 1 turned out great, but by the time the factory began working on these, they had sort of ended their relationship with Super7, and according to Brian Flynn, he said that, since their relationship was pretty much over, that they just kind of stopped caring and just kind of produced these kind of half-assed. So it actually looks pretty good, but there are some problems here, such as like the pegs not fitting into the armholes the best. That kind of sucks. The paint job is actually pretty decent, although the paint on the hair is pretty thick, a lot thicker than most of these other Thundercat action figures. So you don't see all those like fine lines, which is a bummer, His legs are very loose, which kind of stinks too, which, like there's like, I got like a smudge on his knee pad and stuff like that. If you were one of those people that was like really dying for the Thundercats toy line to be more in line with how they appear in the cartoon, I think here is where you like start to see that a little more. Like Groon has like all these little extra lines here on his torso, which looks very similar to the Thundercat animation. They don't have like regular, I don't know, torso muscles like this. They have a very stylized appearance. So here you can definitely see that they were they were trying to do that with Groon. So that is cool. We waited so long to get this Groon action figure too, because they had teased him and shown like prototypes of him way back when Mattel still had the Thundercats. So, it took a long time to get there, but we are finally there. Now you can remove the front of his suit, so that you can replace it with this piece of armor with the Thundercats symbol, because he used to be a Thundercat. Groon is one of the guys where I'm like, yeah, I want to make a cartoon history about him, because he's only in 3 episodes. It's pretty simple. One of the negative parts about this guy is like how wonky the club came out. It looks like. See, that is like his leg got like all crooked when I put him down. All right, so the club here, it's not like glued in there straight. It's all lopsided, and it's 2 pieces. And like I feel like I'm moving it, but I can't tell if I'm breaking it or what. I think I might be breaking it, but. So obviously this factory was just like, yeah, we'll just stick that in there, and that's about it. So that is a bummer, He does come with some cool items, like the seal on his tomb from the episode, his first appearance. That's pretty awesome. You even have a broken one for whenever he escapes. Something about the Wave 2 action figures too is their like hands are very, very soft, which is actually a plus, because then you're able to actually put like his weapons in his hands. You will see that like Waves 3 and 4, the hands are so hard. You have to fight the weapon to get it in there. And like most of the times I'm like, I don't even want to risk breaking the handle or the fingers or something like that. But this Groon the Destroyer is pretty cool, and let's move on. Just real quick, what I do think is funny is that the original Thundercats always were like so big, especially compared to like He-Man and stuff like that, that this Groon is pretty much the same exact height as the original Groon the Destroyer. And I don't know. I wasn't like, I only had like one Thundercat action figure when I was a kid. I didn't even really see them. I don't remember what any of them looked like. I only had Slide. So I don't know. Groon in the cartoon to me is just way better than that original action figure. All right, now I'm really going to move on. Up next is the evil Mumm-Ra, the ever-living. And this guy, I was like super, super excited to get him because, I mean, first of all, he's just gigantic. He cost more money originally because all these guys were originally 45 and he was $60. And I think that extra money, was worth it because he's huge compared to these. Although he does have some problems that these smaller figures don't have. I feel like he is more loose than the other Wave 2 action figures. That's just, like I said, I think some of that is just that factory. Some people try to act like, like Super7 is like purposely trying to like mess up the Thundercats line. Like, yeah, like they just want to make all their customers mad so that you don't like pay them anymore. That's their evil scheme. Like, we're just going to make all the Thundercat fans mad. But I don't know. Some people online get so heated. And like, I understand because you do want these guys to look good, but at the same time, it's not like a conspiracy. I think they're trying. They want you to be happy so that you continue to give them more and more of your money. They don't want to scare you away. So I can understand what they're talking about when they're saying like this wave. The people that made them in the factory just didn't do it as well as they could have. I mean, you could even see it on the packaging. When I opened up all these action figures from Wave 2, the package looked different. Like, first of all, the plastic looked very glossy, and there was even more like, I don't know, like debris or like specks of stuff sort of on top of it. And then I would open up the Wave 3 and 4 figures, and they were like immaculate, and they just looked so much nicer, So it was like everything. So, like I said, my Mumm-Ra head here, the one snake head here, it looks like that one is warped so that it actually kind of goes in like that. And then the other head is way worse because they actually glued the wrong snake on the wrong side. This should go over here. That's correct. This is incorrect. That's a double snake right there, So that bums me out. I have to cut that off and put that on there or something like that. So what I did was I contacted Big Bad Toy Store and I said, hey, my Mumm-Ra, the snake horns are all messed up. And they actually refunded me my money. And they said that, they thought that the majority of their Mumm-Ras might have, or they thought that some of their Mumm-Ras might have problems. So if I wanted to, what I could do is I could order another Mumm-Ra and put it in my pile of loot until, it's verified that their stock is okay and they don't have any more problems or whatever. So I did that. I ordered another Mumm-Ra. I put it in the pile of loot, and then I sent them a message and said, hey, how will I know when these are actually verified so that I could, have this shipped to me or whatever? And then they responded, very quickly. I gotta say, the customer service at Big Bad Toy Store is pretty good. I every time I've like talked to them about something, they've always gone back to me super quick and have been, very easy to deal with. They contacted me and said that Super7 told them that they will now work directly with the Big Bad Toy Store customers. So when I get my second Mumm-Ra, I'm going to check out how that head looks. And then, if that one's fine, I'm not going to say anything about it. But this one, I'm going to contact Super7 and say, like, these guys have messed up heads. And hopefully they will send me a new head. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm trying to think. There was something about this Mumm-Ra that people were talking about. I think maybe it was just like the blue color. There are some episodes in that cartoon. Like if you watch the Thundercats Ho TV special on DVD, Mumm-Ra appears very bright blue, very much like this. He doesn't have that same sort of what do you call it? Uh, subtle, like filth green blue color, I guess. I don't know. I mean, like I was bummed about the horns, but other than that, like he looks fantastic. Even like I don't know. I wish the joints were tighter, but I do like it. There are some weird things like I don't know, like is his knee supposed to swivel like that so much? But the knee actually works pretty well. You can push that pretty far back there, you know, so that's fine. You know what my biggest complaint about this Mumm-Ra action figure is? Well, you know, these things too. I've also heard people were talking about these would fall out inside of their boxes, and then they couldn't find these things to keep the cape in place. Unfortunately, you know, you have to sort of tighten this up a little bit like that to try to keep the cape in place. Otherwise, if you have it like straight, the cape will fall off like that. You know, my biggest negative thing about this Mumm-Ra is they made him go commando. Like I find this very distracting. like they should have like colored his groin here like a dark color, like maybe like this black or something like that. But when he like, you know, if you were like playing with your guys and Lynxo knocks him over and Lynxo would be like, "Oh, Mumra, please cover up for goodness sake." But other than that, you know, I think he is really cool. I like the detail in the face and everything like that. I don't know. He is very cool looking, and I don't know. Like he is impressive. Like when I pulled the box out, like the box is gigantic, and when I do my final review for these guys, I will like have like a side-by-side comparison of the box with like a regular Thundercats action figure box. Like it is huge. Like I couldn't even believe how big the box was. Was there anything else I want to talk about Mumm-Ra? His hands are actually pretty sturdy. They are not soft, which is pretty good too. And he also has the gyroscope regulator from the Return to Thundera. The last thing about Mumm-Ra I should talk about is actually this, you know, extended sword of Plundar. Now this is amazing. You know, this is gigantic, but it does have some flaws. You know, it looks really cool, and like I said, Mumm-Ra's hands are pretty solid, so you're going to want to warm them up before you try to shove this sword in them. Look at that again. The peg here, they're just not tight enough. Now I saw online that somebody had posted their you know, their handle. The paint wore off when they tried to put it in there because I guess maybe the paint is like a little goopier or thick or something like that, and there is some kind of paint stuck there too. I don't know. So I would warm up the hand, like I said, before you try to get him to hold this thing. But like I said, just in general, it looks so cool. I guess I should talk about Mama too after Mumm-Ra. This guy is actually pretty awesome. You know, I can't really find any negative things about him. I don't really have much negative to say. He's really cool. Maybe it would have been neater if they had an open mouth version, just because he's always got like this nasty looking face, you know, like he's gonna like bite people's arms and stuff like that. But he still is very cool looking, very nice. So next up is Pumaira. And you know, I was really, really excited to get this action figure because this action figure was supposed to correct the wrong that Mattel made whenever they started making their Thundercats way back in the day. Well, I mean, it's not way back in the day, was it? How long has it been? Like 5 years? Something? I don't even remember anymore. I mean, old man, leave me alone. So yeah, the original Pumaira was she was way too tall. She was taller than Lynxo. And then they were going to make this Pumaira shorter, you know? She was supposed to be the correct female Thundercat height, right? Well, guess what? They did not do that. They did not correct her height. She is pretty much the exact same height as the original Pumaira. You know, it's interesting because they actually made new parts for her. You know, now she has these pinless joints. So I don't know what happened here that they still made her the same exact height. She even has like new points of articulation, like underneath, you know, the middle of her upper torso here, like that has articulation. The original one does not have that. So yeah, I don't know what went on here. Like, why didn't this get fixed? I don't know. But I think that the original one, like the colors pretty much look almost exactly the same. There isn't much of a difference. This isn't like Mattel Lynx-O versus Super7 Lynx-O. The face, I think, is like maybe there's more contrast, I think, in her like face print. Plus, she's kind of got like the bug eyes a little bit. But other than that, it's very similar. So if you had the original one, you probably don't necessarily need this. And if you don't have the original one, this is, pretty much the exact same thing, except some more articulation, some better joints and stuff. Plus, I also noticed the side of her hair here, between her ear and her hair, is painted skin color. So, that's no cool. Where this one's actually painted all the way up against the ear, so it looks nice and flush. So that is good. Now, if you look at this extra head here, now, like, Pumaira looks super angry. I mean, look at that snarling face. Like it kind of freaks me out a little bit. In my opinion, like, Pumaira is more of a softer character, She still kicks butt, In Thundercats Ho, she does a lot of jump kicks to the mutants, and I think even the Berserker, I think she jump kicks them. So she can fight, she can hold her own, but, she just looks ferocious here. And, I just kind of feel like she's a much more softer character. Like, even her face in the cartoon, lots of times, it's very soft. So, obviously, as I said before, I know that they're doing, like, their sort of their own interpretation of it, but still, it's like, I don't know, just a little, I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings about everything. I do find it interesting that she does have, like, the waist swivel. And on the Chitara that's coming out, she does not have any kind of waist swivel whatsoever. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know why they decided to do that with Chitara, but Pumaira has it. Now, she pretty much has all these same exact accessories that the original action figure had. You have the slingshot with the bombs. That's all cool. But then you have things like, you have the glaive, right? Now, this is the original one. And mine, the paint wore off there. And then you have this brand new one, and it's darker, but the actual plastic itself is like rubber. It is very, very soft. And then you have the totem of, is it Dara or something like that? Right, so this is the original one on the left, and this is this brand new one. And this new one is so flimsy. Like, it is just like a piece of rubber. And this one is actually kind of sturdy and hard. And that's pretty much all about, Pumaira. She's still taller than a Lynx-O. And last up from Wave 2 is Tigra. And, I think that this guy actually looks really cool. Like, I think his build and everything like that looks fantastic. Like, he's... Like, this dude... This is a muscular-looking dude. And I don't know. I like the blues of his outfit and everything like that. And I don't know. Like, a lot of people don't like the dark orange color, which I tend to agree with. I think a more subtle orange would have went a long way. But this is one of those things where Super7 says that the factory had originally, that he okayed the subtle orange, and the factory just kind of gave him this color anyways, which, is a bummer. And he was saying that, like, once pretty much the factory would not fix any of the problems that he had. It's just a shame. It's a shame that they couldn't have worked with the factory that they used to make the Ninja Turtles right from the beginning of this Thundercats line. I'm sure we would have gotten Waves 2 way sooner than we did, One thing I was a little unsure of when I first saw Tigra was, like, his traps. I felt like it kind of made his shoulders look a little like, maybe like too rounded or something like that. But when you actually see him in hand and, you take a look at him, he actually looks pretty awesome, It gives him a very distinct look compared to the other Thundercats. So, I think that's pretty cool. Tigra, in all honesty, is not my favorite Thundercat. You know, that might sound crazy to you. But Panthro has probably always been my second favorite after Lynxo. Tigra always seemed like a little stiff, you know, a little too serious. Even his voice actor, like, said it in one of his interviews on the DVD. But despite that, you know, Tigra does a lot of awesome things in the cartoon, you know? Like, I love in the Pumm-Ra episode, whenever he has to get to the center of Cat's lair. So because he's the architect, he's the only one who knows how to do it, and he like travels through those clear tubes. You know, I love that. That's awesome. I like when he gets turned into an old man, and I even like when he has to use his power of invisibility to save Willa from Castle Plundar and out of sight. And then you have that episode, the Fireballs of Castle Plundar, whenever Willa goes with Lynxo and has to save Tigra. You know, those are all great Tigra-centric episodes. And, you know, I think the most important thing of all is that, you know, Tigra taught me that if I ever fall into a cave, you know, and a singing flower offers me some fruit, you know, don't eat that. You know, that could be drugs. But, you know, on the negative side about this guy, I mentioned the orange. I feel like maybe because the orange is so dark, it creates like too much of a contrast. Like sometimes I look at him and I'm like thinking like he looks a little too busy or something like that. But in general, like I find the blues to be very, I don't know, very reminiscent of the blue colors that you like when you're a kid. Like almost kind of reminds me of the, like the Winston Zedmore uniform from the first couple seasons of the real Ghostbusters before they kind of went a little darker with everything. The other negative thing is, you know, of course, he's missing this elbow pad that was supposed to be there that Brian says is the factory just did not put that on there. Some of the paint is kind of like wonky. Like here, they didn't paint on top of there. Like he's got an orange forearm here, and they didn't paint this inside of here blue. So it kind of creates that, you know, wonky effect. And then the other weird thing, in my opinion, is that his shading here on his abs, they went with an orange color, which is just kind of strange because it creates like a weird contrast. You know, it doesn't look like there's shading on his abdomen. It looks like it's dirty, like it's stained the wrong color, which is kind of strange. And then his feet, I feel like, you know, they're painted and they might be just like a little goopy. But in general, you know, I do like his look. I just wish that, you know, he could have been as good as he could have been. Like, if they would have gotten all the paint right for this guy, like, he would have, like, even, like I said, even though I'm not the biggest Tigra fan, he might have been my favorite after Mumm-Ra in this wave. Because he looks so awesome. You know, what will be kind of weird is when you do have the Thunder Tank, like, it is going to be kind of strange to get him to sit down in it. Because, like, his knees bend just fine. But, you know, because you have, like, this cod piece here, or this, like, rubber overlay or vinyl, you know, his knees, his legs will only go up so far. So it'll be interesting to see how, you know, he can sit down in the Thunder Tank. Let's see, what else is there? You know, his whip weapons here are pretty awesome. I mean, first of all, this is gigantic. You know, that's pretty nice looking. It looks pretty cool when he's holding it. The whip fits in his hand nicely because, you know, it's round. So it goes into that sturdy hand pretty easily. Even, like, the string whip is really cool. Like, it's cool that they included that. And then you just have the, you know, the whipped. I don't know. I tried to, no, it wasn't him. I could get this head on just fine. You know, I think the extra head for Tigra looks pretty good. I don't know. Time to move on. You know, I keep saying I'm going to move on, and then I just keep on bringing up more and more stuff. But, you know, he looks pretty cool next to these original Tigras. I do think it's funny that Tigra had two versions. In my opinion, this is the better one. But still very cool that he had two. So first up from Wave 3 is Captain Cracker. Now, when I first saw that Captain Cracker was coming out, I probably did what everybody else did. Really? Captain Cracker? But, you know, to be honest with you, I think this guy is still a cool character, you know? I like that even though his body is very different from all the other Thundercats, he still gels with them, you know? He still fits in and works well and doesn't look too jarring or, you know, off or anything like that. He's really well done and very similar to the cartoon. What's interesting is that, you know, he has these two face sculpts. And, you know, you would kind of think that, like, well, you know, one is just a closed mouth and one's the open mouth. But really, this head here, you know, that makes him look more like he appears in his first two cartoon appearances. And then this head here, where it's more expressive and you have the teeth, that's how he looks more in the third Captain Cracker episode, Cracker's Revenge, which is hilarious. Like, I think, to be honest, I think his first episode, Mandora and the Space Pirates, is a really good episode. I feel like the second one, Exile Island, isn't like the best, but then Cracker's Revenge is like so off the wall and just hilarious. Like every time he talks, you know, even in the early episodes, he's always like, "How you doing, me boyo?" Ee! Like he does that like "ee" sound all the time, you know. And but in Cracker's Revenge, it's like every time he does it, he has like a spasm. Like he's always just like let's see, like "hello lass," like "ee," like he just like completely like flips a lid, you know. And I don't know, it's great. So I want to start getting moving on a Captain Cracker episode because I've already done like all the screenshots. I just need to you know, write it out and do it. But you know, I hopefully sometime soon. But like I said, I really want to do it because he's only got 3 episodes. You know, it's like Groon, very simple and easy going. He does come with 2 versions of his you know, Polly, the robotic bird. I think its name is Polly. I don't remember off the top of my head. But both of those are really cool, and they plug into his shoulder. I don't know. It's like I said, you know, lots of people probably wanted Lunatics. I personally would have liked some more. I guess because he is from season 1. I was going to say I would have liked more season 1 characters like Mongor or something like that. But he's good, you know. Like he's still a cool character to have, no matter what, you know. And hopefully he's like the promise from Super7 that, you know, we're going to get pretty deep, you know, into the Thundercats, you know, mythology or lineup or whatever you want to call it. All right, so now we're going to talk about Jaga. And Jaga's, you know, he's all right. He's cool. You know, there are episodes where he's got like chainmail up on top of his shoulder. Like if you watch the Groon episode, he's got chainmail up there. But I don't know, he's okay. You know, Jaga is not. I don't get excited about Jaga as much as I get excited about like some of the other characters in the show. You know, especially since Jaga's dead most of the time. I mean, he dies after like, you know, the first 5 minutes of the cartoon, right? So most people were hoping to have like spirit form Jaga. I'm sure that's coming, but you could always pretend in your head that maybe like a time portal opened up or something like that, and you know the Thundercats had to get a live Jaga to help them do something. You know, he came with many heads. For me, like Jaga's face, like I probably like this one the most. This more older looking Jaga. He almost appears kind of like this action figure, because the face is so white. It like almost makes him look more of like a clown than he does like have like a jaguar print or something like that. You know, and he just came with the Sword of Omens and some other things. You know, a cool last minute accessory that was included that nobody knew that was going to be included was like the Thundercats clothes. So, I don't know. He's okay. You know, I got no complaints. His body has no pins. If you try to put like one of these action figures of the guys with no pins next to Lynxo, who does have pins, like if you put them on the shelf next to each other, they still mix and match pretty well. But Lynxo's thigh muscles are gigantic next to Jaga's. So they will still look good together. And then I'm sure eventually Super 7 will be like, hey, we're going to put out a Lion-O without the pins. $60. All right, move on. All right, so now first up from Wave 4 is Linxo. And Lynxo is pretty cool, but, you know, I feel like I keep saying this. He is not my favorite Thundercat. He's fine. He's just, you know, of the new Thundercats, I always liked Bengali. I thought he had the coolest look. You know, Bengal tigers are pretty awesome. And, you know, Linxo to me is just kind of like a stereotypical old wise man character, or like a sort of like a sensei. You know, I just kind of felt like he was just kind of there. But now that I've been like really paying attention to the episodes, you know, from Thundercats Ho and up, and taking notes about what certain characters are doing and stuff like that to include in a future review, I feel like I have more respect for Linxo. Like in Thundercats Ho, he's the one that's pretty much coming up with all the plans to help the other new Thundercats escape from like the Berserkers and the mutants. You know, he's got that Vulcan death grip that he can use to knock people out with, when he just, you know, pokes their, you know, what do you call it? Pressure point. I had to think. He also uses his senses a lot. And what's interesting is he can actually use his senses to, like, shatter glass and whatnot. The only thing I'm not, like, too, like, keen on is his weapon. I feel like it's not a very cool weapon at all, because it's not a weapon, it's just a light shield. Now, Lion-O does use this to reflect like energy back at Mumm-Ra in the episode, was it Cat Fight? So, you know, it's not the coolest thing. You know, I want him to have something that he can actually hit people with. What I am really excited about with this action figure is that he comes with the Braille board, and that is pretty sweet. You know, I thought it was really awesome because whenever Super 7 had announced Wave 4, Linxo did not have the Braille board, you know? He just had everything else he comes with. And a lot of fans, including myself, commented on the announcement and said, hey, like, he always uses the Braille board. Can't you include a Braille board? And by the end of the pre-order, Super 7 had started including pictures of the Braille board with the action figure. And to me, that's awesome, you know? I mean, that makes it seem like Super 7 was listening to the fans and trying to help us all out. And I thought that was great. You know, I feel like a lot of people kind of act like Super 7 is like trying to irritate everybody, or like is just trying to I don't know. They want your money, you know? They want you to be happy with these action figures. They want you to keep buying these action figures. You know, they don't want to put out a crappy product. You know, obviously crap happens, and you know, some things haven't been as up to quality as they should have been, like Wave 2 especially. But, you know, I mean, look at the Mandora and the Electrocharger. Like, that stuff is pretty awesome. You know, I think that maybe Thundercats just is cursed, you know? You know, maybe, like, somebody working on Thundercats, you know, made a deal with the devil back in the day. And the devil was like, look, I'm going to make your cartoon like the best action cartoon of the 80s, you know? It's going to surpass He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and all that kind of stuff, just with quality and writing and storytelling, I guess. I know, if you're a Masters of the Universe, you're probably pretty mad at me. But I think Thundercats was fantastic, you know? That Thundercats, Real Ghostbusters, DuckTales, to me, are like the trinity of the best 80s cartoons. And, you know, maybe they made the deal that, like, you know, we'll have the best cartoon, but our toy line won't be as cool as, you know, Ninja Turtles, whatever that will be in the future. And it will never be as expansive as, like, Masters of the Universe. So, in a way, maybe I'm happy because I still watch the cartoon. I don't know. I'm just rambling on now. Linxo also has this tile from the fountain. This is one of the items the Thundercats need to open up the Book of Omens in the very last episode, I think. Yeah, that's Book of Omens. I don't think this actually appeared in an episode where they had to track it down. You know, there was like the last season of Thundercats, I feel like is mostly like a fetch quest. Like they're always just trying to find the treasures of Thundera. And I believe that they don't actually hunt this one down in an episode, but, you know, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please let me know. And, you know, Linxo does have this other face where he's, like, snarling. I'm okay with this face because, like I said, Linxo still is able to hold his own and still fights the bad guys when he has to, so it's fine. Up next is Monkeyin, and this guy looks fantastic. Like, I love the way that this guy looks. You know, the build looks awesome. He looks ferocious. You know, he should be shorter than Lynxo, but he's not really, which, as I said before, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with this guy being a hulking monster that looks like, you know, if Lynxo slipped up, like he would get demolished or, you know, destroyed by this giant monkey creature. I don't know. He looks great. And this is kind of interesting, too, because you can clearly see that his body is exactly the same as Mumm-Ra's, except that it's shrunken down a little bit, you know, and they added that, like, fur texture to it. So, you know, obviously they're making these sculpts digitally nowadays. They just, you know, shrunk it down and applied some kind of texture to it because, like, the muscles are pretty much the exact same. Even the feet, they're very much the same. Oh, they're actually even the same size. So they gave him very big feet. And he looks great, you know. The yelling is pretty cool looking. Got a hair there. Everything about this guy looks awesome. Even like the mane and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, out of the mutants, Monkeyin is actually my least favorite mutant. You know, I know I'm getting negative, but like I always loved Jackalman and Slive. Slive is my favorite, and Vulture Man, you know, they were my favorite. Monkeyin is cool. He's just, you know, he's the bottom of the mutants for me. But this action figure though looks like he could be the top. Like I like him more than the Jackalman, that's for sure. You know, him and Slive probably look pretty awesome next to each other. Yeah, like these are ferocious beasts, you know? Like, this is what I like, you know? This is... Like, to me, villains always make the hero cooler, you know? The more ferocious, the better. And these guys just look deadly as can be. So I like that. Unfortunately, when I take this head off, you know, I could plop this one on, and when I put it back on, it clicks into place just fine. But if I try to put the regular head in place... I don't know if it's because the hole is not small enough or what, but I might have to warm it up, and maybe then it would work. But I can't get this head to actually click into place on top of the peg in there, unfortunately. And that kind of stinks because I think that the closed mouth face might even be better than the open mouth one, you know? Because it looks more like Monkeyin does all the time. Like, this is just him, you know, in battle. Now, he does come with this cool, like, Morning Star or whatever that he can hold pretty easily with his hands. He usually, I mean, lots of times in the cartoon he uses, I mean, the episodes I remember, he kind of had more of like a mace, you know, it was like the stick with the ball and spikes on top. But they're probably doing this because of the original action figure, where is it? I knew I had it somewhere. You know, that was the original one from the original toy line. Still cool. You know, you have this blaster here, right? Now, to me, this is like a bigger version of like, I don't know if it's like a welding gun. It's like a laser gun. They use it for different things. You know, sometimes they use it to burn a hole in the side of the Thundercats ship in the first episode. You know, that like mutant that looks like Slive, but he's not Slive. He cuts a hole in the side of the Thundercat ship to go inside. And then later on in the episode, the Fireballs of Castle Plundar, a Monkeyin uses this to try to cut into the room where Tigra and Willa are hiding. You know, and like I said, when I do the actual full review, I'll try to use shots of this. Now, we actually got this weapon before... we got it with Jackalman. Let's see if I can find it here. So I could be wrong. You know, maybe this is another blaster that I just haven't noticed yet in the cartoon, but I feel like it's supposed to be this. I feel like that they were trying to remake that just a little bigger, you know, especially with the front of the barrel. You know, I might be wrong. I have to, like I said, I'm still going through it. I'm still trying to find everything, and you know, I'll let you know once I get to the final review. But I kind of wish that they would have included like some paint on this thing. You know, it is just kind of, the same. There's nothing on here. There's no paint whatsoever. This is one of those items where like he's got a super tight grip. I mean, his fingers are rock solid, right? And you try to put this in his hand, and all right. Now, what I've been trying to do to get this into place, right? Because if you put it in this way and then you turn this direction, then you start to bend the handle and stuff. So I put it in this direction and try to bend it a little bit. But my gosh, his like thumb, his palm gets in the way and everything like that. It is way too sturdy, and you really need to warm up his hands to get that weapon in there. And like I wouldn't even try to get the shield in there. You know, that's just asking for you to have a broken handle. You know, so like I said, I will try to warm it up eventually and see if I can get it in there. Otherwise, maybe you can try to put it in the more open-handed hand. His shield's pretty cool too because it shoots fireballs at people. Whoa! And that's it. He doesn't have anything else to really talk about. Like I said, he's like I don't know. He was a really cool action figure from Wave 4, and I was really happy when I pulled this guy out, especially after, like I said, I pulled out those Wave 2 action figures and you saw like some of the problems they had, and then you pulled out a Wave 4 action figure and you're like, this guy looks phenomenal. This is like Slythe to me was like such an amazing action figure when I pulled that out, and this guy again is continuing. Like all the mutants look pretty awesome. So, all right, let's move on here. All right, up next is Pumm-Ra. I'm gonna be your friend, Cheetara. Like, I can't do his voice, but how gullible was Cheetara? And she's got psychic abilities, and she couldn't even tell that he was Mumm-Ra. Can you believe that? Spoiler alert, but yeah, he's actually Mumm-Ra in disguise. And look at that nasty looking face. So like he does have that giant snarl like that in the episode, which looks pretty awesome. This action figure, I don't really have much to say about it because he only appears in that one episode, and it's a cool episode. The cloth robe and everything like that looks pretty cool. Both the likenesses here look great. This very very much looks like how he appears. That looks pretty awesome. I mean, you'd have to eventually I will get like excessive and dorky and see how the colors actually line up with the face. Do they really go up like that? We'll find out. I'll let you know. But this guy's cool, and it is cool that they included like the giant head that you can actually put on the Mumm-Ra body, because I mean he eventually does turn into Mumm-Ra's body with the Pumm-Ra head on top. And then all of his accessories, come from that episode. Like this one is he uses this communicator to talk to the mutants. He picks up the Sword of Omens, but he has to wrap it up like this because it'll alert the other Thundercats, or it hurts him because he's evil. He can't use the actual Sword of Omens. And then he's also got an extra claw shield, which is interesting because there's a hole there. Like you put the fist hand in there, or maybe you just put the yeah, you must have to put the fist in there to kind of hook it into place. I don't know. I kind of feel like if I put the fist hand in there, Like it's gonna get stuck. I don't know. It doesn't... Oh, there's a thumb. Look at that. There's a thumb line there. So you can actually slip it in and out. That's cool. That's pretty awesome. All right, that's all I really got to say about this dude. And again, you know, I mean, he'll be a pretty easy video to make because he's only in one episode. A very cool episode, though. And last up from Wave 4, the last figure I'm going to look at and just kind of go over a little bit is Snowman from Hook Mountain. Now, this guy is awesome. He's, first of all, he's gigantic. You know, compared to Lynxo, he's like that big. It'll be kind of interesting to see how he will actually sit on a snow meow if they actually release that, which I hope they do, because I feel like they've never had an actual big snow meow before. They only had it in that little like those little mini toys. So it'll be cool if he actually has like a full one, just like Battle Cat or something like that to ride on. I mean, his legs like, I don't know. Snow meow is kind of wide, so I don't know how he would actually sit on them. I guess we'll find out if they actually release one. You know, I really like his just like, you know, first of all, I love snow. You know, that might sound crazy, but I love snow. I live in Pennsylvania, and you know, I like it when it snows all the time. So lots of times I kind of prefer snow characters and ice and stuff like that. I have a snow bias. And these like these weapons and everything look awesome. Like I love these ice weapons. Like that, and also his javelin. Where did I put that? It's over here. You know, all this stuff looks cool. Like the shield. This ice shield just looks fantastic. I like it a lot. The helmet is very cool. You know, I'm always curious about Snowman. Like, what is he supposed to be? Is he supposed to be just kind of like like sort of like an abominable snowman kind of guy? Like he's kind of like sometimes I look at his face and, you know, and you don't think, like you think he's wearing like a hood or like a helmet or I guess like some kind of fur mask. But then when you think about it, you're like, no, that's actually his hair. So he's like sort of like almost like a monkey guy or something. Might as well pull out the original Snowman. Mine's a little messed up. So, in my honest opinion, you know, I think waves 1, 3, and 4 are really great. You know, obviously they have some minor problems, but I can get past that because I feel like the action figures are still cool. And wave 2 could have been amazing. But, you know, if only that factory didn't shortchange Super7, you know. You know, I have no reason to believe that Super7 is, you know, like lying about that, you know. I feel like that was something out of their hands because I feel like, you know, if you were making this product, you would not want, you know, to disappoint people, you know. And I also think that the Ninja Turtle toys and waves 3 and 4, which were done at different factories, obviously have a better quality than some of the wave 2 action figures. You know, despite like Tigra's paint problems, he still is a pretty decent figure. You know, he's still very sturdy. You know, I feel like Tigra is like a standout among these characters. For some reason, like I said, I'm not the hugest Tigra fan, but this action figure is just awesome. The biggest problem, and even like Monkey doesn't really have it, but like you have it with like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys, and you have it with some of these guys, is that, you know, you have the loose joints. You know, that seems to be a common problem found in some Super 7 toy lines. But, you know, that doesn't bug me as much as some other things because I can usually get them into the stances that I want them to be in, you know, if their articulation allows them to get into those stances. And, you know, I can usually leave them on my shelf without them falling over. Visually, I find all these guys very appealing. And, you know, personally, I prefer the sturdier bodies than, you know, for them to have like 30 points of articulation, like an old Marvel Legends action figure. I find that to be too jarring, you know, like the action figure starts to lose the illusion of life that I can sort of give them as I like stand them up and set them up on my shelves. Now, before I go, how do I feel about Cheetara, Wave 5, and Wave 5.5? Well, Cheetara, I'm a little iffy about, to be honest with you. Like, I need to see the action figure in hand. It's nice to see that the hips were fixed, but I don't know. Like, I need to see how she scales and fits in with the other Thundercats. Like, is she gonna be tall? Is Pumaira gonna be taller than her? Like, even if this line is like changing scale for certain characters, Pumaira being taller than Cheetara just doesn't work out in my mind for any version of the characters. Now, as for Wave 5, I thought it was pretty lame to include a Lion-O repaint so early on. That is from a cool episode. A cool battle does take place between, evil Lion-O and regular Lion-O. But, I mean, come on. It's still Lion-O. Like, can we not have any more Lion-Os? I bet you Wave 6 has a Lion-O with no pins. I bet you money. I'm really happy about Vulture Man. He's my second favorite mutant, so I'm really happy to see that he's, coming, and I think he looks pretty fantastic. Bengali is my favorite new Thundercat, so I can't wait to get to him, too. You see that? Like, I talked about my least favorite Thundercats in this episode, but now I'm talking about the future waves, and my favorite characters are, still coming. I really like the Hammerhand is included. I think he looks pretty awesome. But I do hope that in the future we get a Season 1 Hammerhand. That was my favorite look that he had. This Hammerhand is more like the toy and how he appears after Season 1, like in Thundercats Ho and up. So Wave 5.5, I love Mandora, I think that she's an awesome character, and I couldn't believe that she hadn't been released. But now that I see that she's coming with the Electrocharger, like, that's perfect. It's great to get both of them at the same time. And to be honest with you, I've already been like gathering up a bunch of reference to make my, make my review of that. I've also been gathering up a ton of reference for the Thunder Tank too. Like, I have a shitload. I have a lot to go through whenever I get that in hand to make my review of it. So I'm really looking forward to putting those reviews together. But seriously, like, I really hope that Mandora comes out well. It seems like Super7 can drop the ball with the female characters for some reason. I don't understand that, because they're like, oh, like, we want to make sure that, like, what's her name, Steelheart is included in Wave 1 of Silverhawks, because, we want to make sure that the girls are out there first, like, sort of thing. And it's like, well, then why do you keep on, like, making their hips, like, so far apart? Like, if you want everybody to be, like, super excited about the female characters, like, do them justice, But, like I said, I'm super excited to get that, and, I'm super excited to see what comes in the future for Thundercats. So, that's it, I talked for a very long time. And, so thanks for watching. If you actually watch this and listen to me ramble, like I said, hopefully these reviews will be up sometime. I've just got to write them out and get my reference and put these together because I love Thundercats, And I'll talk to you later.